Hey everyone, and welcome back to Open. United Way of New York City is a nonprofit organization dedicated to building opportunities to help the lives of low-income New Yorkers. This year, the organization has made its mission to encourage people to get counted for this year's census. Joining us to discuss the importance of the census and the major impact it will have on our communities, please welcome United Way of New York City Vice President of Strengthen New York City, Lemuria Alawode-El. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we just previously had on the director of the New York City Census, and we discussed the importance of filling out your census form. And what I would like to open up with is the United Way of New York City's purpose and how you determine what I guess topics become a priority in mobilizing and or galvanizing the community.
Thank you. So United Way of New York City is really focused on supporting neighborhoods of concentrated poverty to reach self-sufficiency. We do that in a variety of ways, really focusing on education, income, which really is around benefits access and really supporting people's reach towards self-sufficiency and not relying on government supports to meet their basic needs, and also health. And a lot of our health work is really centered in the space around emergency food supports and making sure that there is solid nutrition within those emergency food supports. So food pantries, soup kitchens, community farms, and other nutrition programs to support families and individuals within neighborhoods of concentrated poverty. Our work is really rooted in self-sufficiency, and so making sure that families and individuals have what they need to not rely on government supports, but also understanding that there is a process to get there. And United Way is really there to fill in the gaps and really support families through that process.
So help me understand identifying the Strengthen New York City within United Way. Is that a sector within United Way?
Sure. So Strengthen New York City is a unit within United Way's Community Impact Department. Our Community Impact Department consists of our education unit, our food and benefits access unit, and then Strengthen NYC, which really encompasses our community building, our capacity building, and volunteerism is really a part of our capacity building as well. We sit at the intersection. United Way of New York City really sits at the intersection of government, community, and nonprofit or in the nonprofit sector. And so we see ourselves as a convener, bring people together around specific issues, working with community partners to identify what's important and needed within community, and then coming up with solutions to solve for them. What we appreciate is that every community-based organization has what they need to get the job done. And that's where our community building and capacity building work comes into play. We also appreciate that government sometimes needs community support to get things in motion. The census is a really good example of government saying this is something that's important, but we know in certain communities, the participation rate has been really low. And so what do we need to do to activate, to educate, to mobilize individuals in that community to participate in a way that government really needs us to participate.
So you also have partnerships with like other non-for-profit organizations,
Absolutely.
Right? So is that how you do it? Like, is there an alliance that kind of convenes at United Way? Like, how does that work? What is that system? And how does a non-for-profit become part of this? Would it be Strengthen NYC or would it be the United Way?
So it's not a club, so to speak. The way we work is we really are rooted in the goal. So let's say, for example, the census as a goal, right? The census is something that we know we want to achieve a certain self-response rate or a certain response rate within the city. we look at our community-based network, who are the community-based organizations that are in our space around education, income, and health, and also get a sense from them on who else thinks that this census is important? Who else wants to do work in their community to activate and mobilize your community members, your constituents around educating themselves around the census and completing the census and making sure that collectively we get this done. Those who raise their hand are invited to be a part of the network. Those who want to actually do the work are invited to be part of the network. So it is open to all who are interested. We generally take a community-based approach. So we might look at a specific community. Let's say it's the South Bronx. Let's say it's Mott Haven specifically within the South Bronx. We look at that community. We do develop a community asset map so that we understand who the players are in the community, who's doing work, who are the community stakeholders, who are the active parents.
Right.
And because it's not just community-based organizations, we understand that community-based organizations are a sector and a key important part of the fabric of the community, but also the people who live there might do a lot of work.
Got it.
And so we want to make sure that we are inviting all community stakeholders to the table to understand this is what the vision is and the mission of what our work is, but also to learn from them, is this right? Is this important?
Right.
to you? Are we
It is important. And we just
Okay.
discussed previously in the previous segment how only 60.8% of New York City is filled out, rather, or accounted for. And so before we go, just share with everyone how you guys have been mobilizing the not-for-profit or certain communities to on the importance of filling it out. I mean, it's accessible online for those who may not be online savvy. Are there like kiosk, or are you doing any like events outdoors to assist in this process, or how is that coming out?
So United Way has done some grant management in partnership with the New York City Complete Counts Fund to mobilize, educate, and work with community-based organizations and communities that are considered hard to count communities. And what we've done is work with them. Let's recognize that the census launched on March 12th. The very next day, the city started to shut down due to the COVID pandemic. We work with community-based organizations to pivot their plans, which were 100% in-person community engagement plans, to an online platform. And so people got really creative around how they got the word out to their communities without being able to come in contact with them in person. And since some of those shutdowns have been lifted, people have been able to do a little more in the engagement front. We've been activating our emergency food pantries and even developed a toolkit to share with them so that as people from the community, individuals and families from the community come to access these essential services, they also get information on why the census is important, information on how they can complete it. You can complete it on your phone. You can call to complete it. There are multiple languages. You can get it done on your phone. And some of these food pantries even have iPads on site where people can complete their census while they're there. We've also worked with the Robin Hood Foundation in this last month of the census, and it's been extended to October 5th as of today, to convene community-based organizations that are still doing work and really provide updated weekly self-response rate information, let them know which census tracts within hard to count neighborhoods need some special attention so that they can really focus their on the ground efforts. What we've heard from many of our community-based organizations is that the best way to get people to complete the census is to meet them where they are. And so they are going to the hot spots within the communities, community hubs, we call them, so that they can come with the iPads, with the technology, to not only educate individuals on why completing the census is important, but also give them the tools that they need at that moment to actually complete it as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it to our viewers. Thank you for leading the way and for making sure that we are all counted. You guys, once again, fill out your census forms. Thank you for being with us, Lemuria Alawode-El of the New York City I'm sorry, the United Way New York City and Strengthen New York City, that is. And you guys, once again, be sure to fill out the census at my2020census.gov. And for more information on United Way of New York City, you can visit unitedwaynyc.org. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll discuss the importance of voting for this year's presidential election. Don't go anywhere.